Welcome in, everyone, to another episode of my Dynasty Fantasy Football content. This time, we're going to cover some Dynasty buys for 2024. Now, if you like what we're doing here, make sure to like, comment, and most importantly, subscribe. We just hit 2,600 subscribers. I want to get to 3,000, so keep those subscriptions coming. Let's jump into our first buy. Chris Godwin. So I think people are just honestly tired of Godwin. He was still very successful in 2023. Had 83 catches, 1,024 yards, just 2 touchdowns on 130 targets. We know that the Buccaneers are just running it back in 2024 with exactly the same crew. They brought back Baker Mayfield. They brought back Mike Evans. So we're just doing it all over again. However, one thing that I doubt that repeats itself is 13 touchdowns for Mike Evans and 2 for Chris Godwin. That seems unlikely to repeat itself in 2023, especially since Evans has not always scored double-digit touchdowns in his career. Evans had more targets but fewer catches than Godwin in 2023. So unless you think that Godwin is totally washed, and he really didn't look washed in 2023, I'd expect a few more touchdowns, a better overall fantasy performance, especially if he gets the same 130 targets as he did last year. Currently, he sits at wide receiver 38 in KTC when you exclude rookies. For me, wide receiver 30 with rookies excluded. I just think that he's a good value. And I have some trade ideas. Try to acquire him for a mid 24 second, or you can send a 25 second and third for him. I just think people are tired of Godwin. I think you can get him for a low price. And you have to understand what you're doing here, right? He is only 28 years old, but the dynasty value is probably not going to come back, right? Production will be there for a contender. He is a free agent after 2024. There's always a shot he signs on a better offense in 2025 and gives you that one last sell window. We did see a 29-year-old Calvin Ridley get a 4-year, $92 million deal. Godwin's had a better overall career than Ridley. So if he hits the open market, he might get a similar contract. But even if that doesn't happen, it's a nice way to get some production for your roster, even if it's not sexy. You need players like this. You need depth in a dynasty league. So I'm fine sending a mid-second to get Godwin. Next up, Jared Goff. And Jared Goff, to me, I don't really understand the perception of Jared Goff. I don't know why he isn't treated as a franchise quarterback in dynasty ranks. He still isn't even an old player. He just turns 30 in October, younger than Dak Prescott, for example. Outside of his rookie year and the 2021 Lions rebuilding year, he's had a winning record every season of his career. 60, 50, and 1 as a starter overall. And over the last 2 years, he's been great. In 2023, he led the Lions to a 12-5 record, NFC Championship game. He did really well down the stretch in 2022. Since the Lions offense rebounded in 2022, he's been a solid quarterback. 2022, 65.1% completion, 29 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, 7.6 yards per attempt, totaled 4,438 passing yards. And then, if you notice, 2023, he added Sam Laporta to the offense, added Jahmyr Gibbs to the offense, and everything just became a little bit better. 67.3% completions, 30 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, the same 7.6 yards per attempt, 4,575 passing yards, a little bit more. So it's not also like he's had a high touchdown rate, just 4.9 and 5.0% touchdown rate. So he's not even a candidate for negative touchdown regression, really. And his weapons of Amon-Ra St. Brown, Sam Laporta, and Jahmyr Gibbs are all young. They're not going anywhere. The Lions are also linked to a day 1 or day 2 wide receiver to complement or even replace Jameson Williams. Now, Goff is entering the final year of his old Rams contract that he signed way back in 2024. I fully expect Goff and the Lions to reach a long-term extension. If Kirk Cousins got a 4-year deal for $180 million with $100 million guaranteed, heading into his age 36 season, coming off a torn Achilles, Goff is going to cost more than that. Once the contract comes in, I think dynasty managers will realize what they have in Goff, because I don't think they do at the moment. Currently, he is the quarterback 15 in KTC, and he's my quarterback 15. Now, you might say, well, if I have him in the same rank as KTC, why is he a buy? Great question. The problem is not his ranking among quarterbacks. He's ranked in the right place among quarterbacks. The problem is where he falls in overall ranks. I have Goff more similar to guys like Brock Purdy and Jordan Love. And the rankings show that Goff is more similar to guys like Bryce Young and Deshaun Watson and Baker Mayfield. And I see Goff as a franchise quarterback, a good quarterback, someone who's proven to be productive. So I have him more in that higher tier, even if he's in the same overall quarterback rank. So here are some trade value ideas that I have to acquire Goff. He's in the 109 for Goff. A lot of people just aren't that in on Goff. They see 109. Ooh, great pick. You can get him for that. 25 first and second in a super flex. These are all super flex trades, of course. And then a couple of interesting ones, a tier down and a tier up. People are obsessed with Jordan Love. Yeah, he showed a lot, but the numbers weren't that great. He was good. I'm not saying he wasn't good, but doesn't have the consistency of Jared Goff. Jared Goff has done the same numbers over many years, whereas Jordan Love has 1 year of doing it, and only really at the end of the season. If you can get Goff and an early second for Love, I would do it. I would take the tier down and take Goff. Then going the other way, I would be happy to send a mid-second. You might even be able to do a late second to turn Deshaun Watson or Baker Mayfield, two quarterbacks that I do not have the same confidence in as Goff, into Jared Goff, someone I'm very confident in. So those are some moves you can make a little outside of the box with Jared Goff in your Dynasty Superflex leagues. Last one, Chuba Hubbard. And speaking of someone who I think has gone under the radar, I really think that Chuba Hubbard is under the radar. He was a very solid prospect coming into the NFL out of Oklahoma State. His 2019 season was one of legends. 328 carries, 2,094 yards, 21 touchdowns, 23 catches for 198 yards. Now, you might say, if he was so great, why was he only picked in the 4th round? The 2020 pandemic season really hurt his stock. If he had just come out after 2019, I think he would have been a day 2 pick. He ended up being a 4th round pick for the Panthers, and he got involved as a rookie after the Christian McCaffrey injury in 2021. Had 172 carries, 612 yards, and 5 touchdowns, 25 catches, 174 yards, and a touchdown. Unfortunately, his success didn't carry over to interim head coach Steve Wilkes after Matt Rule was fired in 2022. Even after McCaffrey was traded, Hubbard didn't see much action. He just had 95 carries, but he was efficient, 4.9 yards a carry, 14 catches for 171 yards. Deonta Foreman served as the Panthers' lead back for most of 2022. But then in 2023, Hubbard became the backup to Miles Sanders after they let Foreman walk. And quickly, he stole the starting job from Sanders. 238 carries, 902 yards, 5 touchdowns, 3.8 yards a carry, and 39 catches for 233 yards. Interestingly, Hubbard has either had volume or been efficient every year of his career, but never both at the same time. He's played under 4 head coaches, including 2 interims over the last 2 years. Now we're going on a 5th in Dave Canales. Luckily for him, the Panthers are saddled with Miles Sanders' poor play. He was much worse than Hubbard behind the same offensive line last year, and big contract, so he's not going anywhere. They also lack a 1st round pick because they stupidly traded it last year in one of the worst trades of all time. And I highly doubt that they pick a running back with either of their 2nd round picks or their 3rd rounder. They have so many needs, especially after trading Brian Burns away. So Hubbard is going to be their 2024 starter. Dave Canales even said so. Heading into his walk year for free agency, this is the last year of his rookie contract. Right now, KTC has him way down at running back 37 and way down the overall ranks. I have him at running back 30, so 7 spots higher. I've seen some trades, Hubbard for 25 3rd, Hubbard for Treylon Burks, and Hubbard for Zach Moss. In all of these cases, I think you're getting the value on the Chuba Hubbard side. I just think that Zach Moss, for example, someone who's 2 years older, hasn't actually had as much success in the NFL as Hubbard, but just seems like he's in a better situation because he's on the Bengals. I would rather have Hubbard. Treylon Burks, I think, is a bust. And 25 3rd, if that's your price to get a running back, I'm okay with acquiring him for that. Now, I want to thank everyone for watching the video so far. If you like what we're doing, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And also sign up for the Patreon up there, patreon.com/fantasyadvice, where you can ask these advanced questions for the YouTube. I have 3 of them today, so we're going to run through those. I know I'm just waiting to see how things pan out in the draft. That will generate some questions and movement. So it's an interesting point. I do agree that waiting until the NFL draft can help raise the value of rookie picks. But I often try to move players I already have whose value could be hurt by the draft in advance. Usually that's running backs. But this year, there aren't that many running backs I expect to take a huge hit. I expect the highest drafted running backs to go to places without a valuable incumbent, like the Chargers, the Cowboys, two of the spots for sure. But this is a loaded wide receiver class. There will be teams that don't need a wide receiver that take one anyway because of value. The Packers and the Jaguars, wide receivers are vulnerable to me. The Jaguars, they don't have a true wide receiver one. They didn't retain Calvin Ridley. So I do think they're going to take a wide receiver in the first round, and I think that's going to crush the value of Christian Kirk and Gabe Davis. As for the Packers, they have so many wide receivers already, but they already have 4 day 2 picks. I think we might be surprised to see them take a wide receiver, and that it'll make a messy room even messier. So just a couple of things to look at there. What kind of deal would you be looking to make if you want to trade out of a draft pick entirely for future draft picks? So generally, the best value here comes on the clock when someone wants a specific player. Typically, the line for trading a current first for a future first straight up, it's in the 108 to 111 range. However, this year, I think the 2024 class is generally considered stronger than the 25 class, especially in Superflex, where the 25 QB class is weak. So oftentimes, I don't mind trading the 109 or 110 for future first because the 109 and 110 don't have high-end upside, but a future first does. Not doing that this year. I'd always trade an early second for a future first, but unfortunately, that move's kind of going out of style. People aren't as stupid enough to fall for that as they used to be. It used to be very common. Nowadays, I rarely see that. So you can still try it, though, but it's not as likely to be successful as it was in the past. Last one. What's the best way to initiate a trade? Messaging the other person beforehand, sending a dumb offer just to show that you're interested, a good offer you want done or something else. I definitely don't recommend sending a dumb offer to just show that you're interested. If you want a good player and send a dumb offer, you're not going to get them that way. As for myself, I usually just start with a good offer to prevent from being predictable. Sometimes it's my best offer. Sometimes I just start with my best, take it or leave it. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I have negotiating room. I like to mix up between those two strategies. I don't message before sending an offer. That I don't ever do. That gives away my strategy. I don't want to do that. After the offer, if I get a message back talking about the offer, I'm willing to message to negotiate, but I don't message beforehand. So that's usually how I handle that kind of offer strategy. Now, again, if you like what we're doing here, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. If you want to sign up for Patreon to ask those advanced questions, right up there, patreon.com/fantasyadvice, you can sign up. But otherwise, I just appreciate everyone watching the YouTube channel. All of the viewers mean a lot to me. And just remember that, like and comment. And if you have any feedback about the video, make sure to leave it in the comments. Positive, negative. I'm always willing to hear all of that as long as it's constructive. If it's just the video sucks, I'm probably not going to respond to that. But until next time, I want to thank everyone for watching, and I'll see you all later. Peace out.